Q, hey, listen, he come on the show talking about places you pay no state tax. Sometimes you get in tax brackets, Molly, where it don't matter what the state tax is.
Absolutely.
That's what he's trying to
hide. And you know what you do when that happens? You just get homes, coast to coast, city, country, a little spot here, a little spot there, and you just...
Finance Education 101.
Oh, Lord.
It always matters. The taxes you paying, no matter how much paper you bringing in. Okay, let me be very clear about that. How y'all doing? Molly, the bling, you just bling.
Don't start.
Just blink.
Don't start. He
What
had
is that?
He had a mansion on his wrist yesterday.
What is that? What is that jacket? Is that velvet, Molly? What is that? Cashmere? What is it?
Oh, on him? I don't know. It's new money.
It's cashmere.
He's feeling himself. He is feeling himself, boy.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Hey, Molly, he ain't
really
gonna tell the world I FaceTimed him about a week ago, and he answered the phone flexing. We gonna keep that between us, but he answered the phone flexing.
We gonna keep that between us.
I can just imagine. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it. So it is no secret, gentlemen, that Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the NFL, lauded for his success on the field. He's never finished a season below 500 in 14 years in Pittsburgh, leading the Steelers to 9 playoff appearances, including a win in Super Bowl 43. Also, he's an incredible leader of men. So with that being said, he did not take kindly to the question of leaving the pro ranks for the open college position at USC. Coach Tomlin, not mincing his words. Take a listen.
Hey guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That'll be the last time that I address it. And not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
Anyone else? All right.
Thank you. Anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, anybody asking Andy Reid about stuff like that?
You know, Stephen A., my initial reaction to this was, this is much bigger than football.
Yeah.
You never see him miffed like this.
Yeah.
What was your visceral reaction when you heard Tomlin?
I was proud of him. I was proud of him for saying what he said in the fashion that he said it, and leaving the rest to us. He emphatically did just knock down any assertions, any rumors, any allegations about him wanting to go to the college ranks. That's a plus. But then by asking the question that he asked about Andy Reid and Sean Payton, be very, very clear. He wasn't being disrespectful to them in any way. What he was doing was pointing out what we all know he was pointing out. There's a bunch of racist-ass people out there. And I'm not talking about the reporter that asked the question. That's not what I mean by that. I'm not even, and I understand a place where it comes from as it pertains to a Carson Palmer being on Dan Patrick's show and bringing up Mike Tomlin because he obviously Carson Palmer was at USC. I'm certainly not accusing or asserting anything about Carson Palmer. I'm sure that wasn't his intent, wasn't Dan Patrick's intent. I'm certainly not implying that about the great Dan Patrick or anybody else. What I'm talking about is from a societal perspective. You know, here is a man that has won a Super Bowl championship, has been to a Super Bowl, has never had a losing record, and periodically from time to time, the minute the Steelers expose that they got bad breath, he on a hot seat. Sean Payton, who's a hell of a coach, also a Super Bowl champion, he's had 4 losing seasons in his career, including back-to-back-to-back from 2014 to 2016, where they went 7-9 each year. Andy Reid has had 3 losing seasons on his resume. Both of them have won less of a percentage of their football games. But Mike Tomlin is the one that he's either on the hot seat or guess what? He might be looking to go to the college ranks because the Pittsburgh Steelers, their offense ain't what we anticipated it would be. They got to shore up the offensive line. They got to shore up their quarterback position and find a successor to Ben Roethlisberger. Their defense, even though it's big time, could be a little bit better. Because of that, you're going to ignore a resume? One of the things that I do when I sit here and I discuss these things and I talk about and people try to come at me, for example, because I'm going to personalize this. I consistently bring up my resume. Get that off the screen, please. I want to be on camera for this. I specifically bring up my resume for a reason. You know why I bring up my resume, Wally, Swagoo? Because when you're black, it behooves you to have one. Because the second they get a chance to diminish what you've accomplished, what your cachet is, then they're going to take advantage of it. See, I'm screaming A. I'm the guy with the loud voice. I project in a very demonstrative and a bombastic manner. And because of that, you get to ignore the fact that I did 3 internships before I started off as a high school writer at the New York Daily News, before I went to the Philadelphia Inquirer and got promoted 7 times, before I became the 21st African American to be a general sports columnist in this nation's history. See, I'm just a loud mouth that shows up on Get Up on First Take, and I lucked up because I raised my voice right here. People want to forget that I was a journalist for 25 years and that I earned the right to be in this seat. They want to do that. Black people go through all this stuff all the damn time. And this is just the latest example because what Mike Tomlin is saying, Swagoo, I have a resume. What person with my resume would you be talking about taking a college job when I'm coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the most renowned jobs in all of sports throughout history? They've had 3 coaches, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. Everyone knows this. This man has not had a losing season in 14 years. And you're talking about him leaving the NFL to go to the college ranks as if that's what he needs to consider. You're damn right is insulting. And you're damn right there's some racial connotations to it. Because as he basically said, you ain't asking none of the white dudes with my resume that question. And he is right.
And say you took the words out of my mouth. The visceral reaction from Mike Tomlin was about disrespect. That's what it boiled down to. Disrespect, and to your point, not acknowledging the fact that I've been one of the most successful coaches in the NFL, and me going to college would be a step down. Okay, this is the highest level in which you can coach American football. This is one of the storied franchises in which you can coach football. And for as much as you and I have sat on television and talked about how hard it is for African Americans, black head coaches to get jobs and opportunities in this league, the one that has had a tremendous amount of success, the one that is a Super Bowl champion, the one is that is going to be, here's the point, S.A., he's going to the Hall of Fame as an NFL head coach, and you disrespect this man by asking him if he's going to take a college job. That's what this is about. And to your point, Mike Tomlin pointed out Andy Reid and Sean Payton, because see, when you say things like that, people get it misconstrued. They think you're attacking Andy Reid and Sean Payton.
Not at all.
They think you attack. So because what's going to happen after this is that they are going, everybody that don't like Stephen A is going to focus on the fact that you brought race into the conversation.
Sure.
And dismiss the fact that that is exactly why Mike Tomlin said what he said. It's because that connotation is prevalent. He understands the environment in which he coaches. He understands the things you have to go through in order to be a head coach as a black man in the NFL. And not only that, have an amount of success. So to your point, you took it all out of my mouth. But here's the thing that I will say. And this is what I'll say to the reporters, because to your point, no disrespect, they ask questions because they may get an answer that no one is expecting.
Right.
But reporters, when you ask Mike Tomlin about taking a college coaching job, please understand this man is a Hall of Fame head coach in the NFL, and understand why he has that type of reaction to you asking that question, or if he would have any interest in it. And he just told everybody that it's no booster with a blank check that will get him the lead. This man coaches for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a Hall of Fame coach who has never had a losing season, and you ask him about going to college.
Well,
it's absolutely disrespectful.
Absolutely. And this is the thing. The reporter himself, listen, there's no shade on the report or whatever. You could have said, however, Listen, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because Carson Palmer was on a radio show and he said that. Then perhaps Mike Tomlin would have taken it differently. I think Mike Tomlin took it the way that he took it because you hear these rumors and these innuendos. He knows that he's been on a hot seat even though he didn't deserve it. He knows, again, he's being reminded that a black man is being held to a different standard. And more importantly, this is the latest form of evidence. Let's keep in mind, just months ago, we lamented, Molly, Swagoo, about the paucity of African-American coaches that were getting hired in the National Football League. Why is that such a big deal? Because Mike Tomlin is a standard. He's a rationale and a reason owners can lean on to
100%.
use to highlight the
100%.
fact that there are black men who can be leaders of men and as a result can head an NFL franchise. But they haven't taken that upon themselves. If it was somebody, Andy Reid's got a tree. Who knows what Sean Payton got? You got Bill Belichick. All his damn assistants keep failing at the opportunities they're getting. So
Cardinals and 6-1 Packers could be missing some star power in Green Bay's offense. Aaron Rodgers' go-to guy, Devontae Adams, placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. Alan Lazard joined him yesterday with this latest development. Aaron, what's on your mind?
There's a little bit of a shock factor for sure when it's Devontae, but we dealt with it last year. We're maybe slightly more healthy than some of the other teams as far as not having as many cases, but there have been cases here. We've dealt with them. But when I heard 17, I was hoping that it was going to be one of those false positives for sure.
Swagoo, I want to start with you. As you heard me say, really pumped for this game. What can Aaron Rodgers do to lead the Pack to victory tomorrow?
Put on one of those epic performances. And listen, the only reason we think Green Bay has a chance is because 12 is playing quarterback. Let's make no mistake about it, because the Arizona Cardinals, I want to tell everybody out there in the world, are a really good football team. I know it's not popular. I know it's not something that everybody wants to accept, but the Arizona Cardinals are a top team in the NFL. They are elite in a lot of ways in what they do from a team perspective. But because Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, and because he's figured these type of things out before, and because we know he raises his level of play when he's asked to raise his level of play outside of how phenomenal he is in between the lines and what he does, that is why we still have this idea that this could be pulled off by the Packers. Now here, I gotta put this out here, Molly. I didn't have them winning if Devontae was playing. I didn't have the Green Bay Packers winning this game if he was playing. Because I think the Arizona Cardinals are a better football team. I believe Kyler Murray can go toe-to-toe with any quarterback in the NFL right now. And when you look at the construct of this team, offensively and defensively, the Cardinals I'm talking about, they do it on both sides of the ball. I think they are a more complete team than the Green Bay Packers as a whole. But we've seen Aaron Rodgers do this. I've been on the other side as a defensive player when we were like, they are hamstrung by guys that are missing. They are hamstrung because he's not fully healthy. And it's a throw here and a throw there to shape shift the game and give his team an opportunity to win. And don't let him have the damn ball at the end of the game and you need a scoring drive to win. I don't care if me, you, and SA out there playing wide receiver. He going to figure out a way to get to the end zone. This is going to have to be a heavy dose of Aaron Rodgers being phenomenal, elite, looking like the best quarterback that we've ever seen in the NFL, as your man like to say, because I know it's about to come, so I'm going to pass the mic to him. But the bottom line is this. If the Packers are going to win, we'll note this as one of Aaron Rodgers' most epic performances of not only this season, of probably that we've seen in a long time, even including his MVP season last year.
Well, first of all, Swagoo, I want to thank you for showing just yet another phenomenal skill that you have. I didn't know you could dance around like Fred Astaire, the late Gregory Hines, Michael Jackson, and everybody else in between. God rest their wonderful souls. I mean, this is what it is. This is what it is.
I know. He better be careful what comes out of his mouth right now, because I'm listening.
Please, I ain't worried about no Molly Q. Okay, no Molly Q. It ain't phasing me, Miss UConn.
All right, let's go. Let's hear what you got to say about this.
How's those Purdue games with UConn? How's that going? Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that, let me say this, Swagoo. I mean, prayer is an option. Prayer is always an option, okay? And I think that's where we need to go with the Green Bay Packers. I had Arizona winning the game myself, okay? But here's the reality of the situation. Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal. He's a bad man. You know I know that. I'm the one that invented that phrase. But here's the deal. He's never been successful throwing it to himself. Neither has any other quarterback. Devontae Adams is out. Lazard is out. All you got is Tunyon and Randall Cobb. And, I mean, Scantlin's out. I mean, he ain't got any receivers. And so, to me, there's two elements here. Prayer. And the other thing is Aaron Jones averaging 4.5 yards a carry
100%.
against an 18th ranked defense against the run. Arizona is stout getting to the quarterback. They're stout against the pass. They're top 3. They're stout in points allowed. But running the football, you apparently can do that on Arizona a little bit. I think it needs to breathe from that. And if Aaron Jones is running the football effectively, then obviously that's going to assist in receivers getting open because you're going to have to load the box a little bit to prevent the run from happening, and that'll give them a better chance to get open since you don't have both Devontae Adams and Lazard available to you, nor Scantlin. I think that's the hope. Aaron Jones got to be a key tonight.
I was just trying to figure out how long you was going to Iman Shumpert this take.
All right.
Wait, are you just going to let him go with this? Like, because this annoys me.
He going to tell me I'm dancing.
No, because this is the guy, like president of the fan club,
Molly,
#1. You hear other people.
He's building in excuses. He's
to protect
building in
himself.
excuses.
Absolutely.
Because I promise you, I promise you,
Low-hanging fruit
this
by
is
you.
what I can promise. If it was the Cowboys, he'd be laughing. He'd be laughing.
No. Totally
true.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, you would.
I said totally true. You're not listening. I said you're absolutely right. But just because I would be laughing doesn't mean I would negate the fact that you're bereft of weapons because they're out to injuries. I would just laugh over the fact that you're out. You see what I'm saying? I wouldn't lie about it. I would just be laughing about it.
I said it all last year.
That's all. That's all.
I said it all last year and watch you go crazy with the whole damn team being hurt.
Hold on. I laughed. I didn't say they weren't hurt. I didn't sit up there and say no excuse. I laughed. I laughed because I enjoyed the fact that they were struggling. I didn't deny it.
He loved this man so much, Molly.
Aaron Rodgers so much, he should be
loved
picking
him so much.
Right?
Time out.
He
loved him.
He should be covering a multitude of sins on the field.
First of all, Molly, I mean, I'm sort of getting taken aback by your tone. I mean, you're talking about at me a little bit loud. Could you lower the volume just a touch, Molly, please? Thank you very much. That's number one. That's number one.
Me a little.
That's number one. Number 2, and more importantly, here's the deal. I never said anybody's going 16-0. You're going to lose some games. I had Arizona winning this game anyway. All I'm saying is, in order to win it, we talked about how can Aaron Rodgers pull off a win.
First of all,
the question by saying Aaron Jones and prayer.
Okay.
Aaron Jones and prayer.
Listen, prayer is not an option for you. Prayer is a must. We'll carry on here.
Yeah, I do. I pray every day. I pray every day and every night.
Keep going.
Yes, I do, Molly.
Come on, first
You
take.
be praying for me.
We're just, who says I know, about halfway through the NFL season. It's time to start talking about MVP for real. Stephen A. and Swagu's picks in just a bit for that. Plus, Russell Westbrook last night. Did you see what he did? Brody's performance. What did it reveal to Stephen A? Tim Legler will be here to help us break that down. More First Take in a moment. There he is.
I'm coming for you, Stephen A.
Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me.
Legs in the gray monochromatic look. I like it.
That's it.
So come join First Take live at FAMU. Russell Westbrook stepping up in LeBron's absence last night in a 4-point OT victory over the Spurs. Westbrook getting back to Westbrook numbers 33, 10, and 8. AD balled to 35, 17, and 4. LeBron dealing with right ankle soreness and couldn't go. Tim Legler joining us. Good to see you,
brother.
sir.
See you.
What's up?
I will start with you, Legs. What did Westbrook's performance tell you?
Told me that the analogy I used to describe him last night would be if you owned a Ferrari and you were only allowed to drive it around your gated community with speed bumps, or like if it was Usain Bolt at the mall on Black Friday walking around, get out of my way, and then finally you take the Ferrari out on the highway. That's what it looked like last night. You talk about a dude being liberated and unleashed. How good that must have felt for Russell Westbrook, because he's listening to all the noise over the first week and talking about him, and I've been one of those guys saying it's going to be hard for him all year to find rhythm. So here's what this says to me. First and foremost, it says They can win games now when LeBron sits. That wasn't a luxury they had the last 2 years. And why does that matter? Well, look at last year. They came out of the 7-hole, and you're not doing that in the West. You're not winning 3 straight road series in the Western Conference, because in one of those, you would lose the first 2 games. And you're not coming back and win 4 out of 5 in that situation. You're just not statistically. So now you can win games when LeBron sits, and that's the main benefit of Russell Westbrook right now. The question still is going to be, though, how do you allow him to retain more of who he is as a player, playing with LeBron James? And there's only one solution. Stagger minutes as much as you possibly can. And I know it's hard for Russ to ever accept coming off the bench, and we talked about that here before. I'm saying the first 6 minutes of the game are garbage anyway. All that is 10 dudes agreeing, hey, can we all get a shot up and get a sweat going? Because nothing happens. And it's 6 minutes of wasted time out there with LeBron. But look, he's going to stay a starter. I say get him out of the game sooner, put him back in for LeBron, give him a 6-7 minute stretch without him. Do that in each half. Right there, that's 14 minutes where it's his team.
Okay.
Because that's what Frank Vogel's going to have to do, Stephen A., to navigate this, because you're going to have a lot of rough nights from Russ offensively.
I got you.
Like, as constructed.
Well, let me say this to you, man, because this is my brother right here. We used to shoot around together and all stuff. I want you to tighten up your soliloquies just a little bit, because, and here's the reason why.
Are you telling people they talk too long?
Let me tell you.
That can't come from him.
It is coming from me. Only because we want time to get back at you, my brother.
All right.
That's why. Here's the deal. What did Russell Westbrook's performance tell us? Absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. You know what? And I'm going to be clear, because I don't want this to be interpreted as disrespect to Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook scored 33 points last night. We didn't know he could do that. We know he could do that. Really, we really surprised. Let's look at the numbers here. Russell Westbrook had 10 rebounds. We didn't know he could do that. Russell Westbrook had 8 assists. This is a walking triple-double now. We didn't know he could do that. Russell Westbrook did it on 27 shots. We didn't know he could do that. Of course we did. The point is, when you look at Russell Westbrook last night, it would have meant everything if LeBron and AD were on the court, because that's what you're looking at come playoff time. Russell Westbrook, with one other star on the court, did what he always does. That's Russell Westbrook. That's who he is, ladies and gentlemen. Not the dude that dropped, single digits in game 1. Not the dude that followed that up with a 15-point performance and a 13-point performance. That's Russell Westbrook. The brother that can drop 30 on you and damn near a triple-double, if not literally a triple-double. We know that. So now we're at a point where all we're looking for from Russell Westbrook is, what can you do with 2 other dynamic stars on the court? Because that's what it's going to take for the championship. LeBron James is going to be there come playoff time. Anthony Davis supposed to be there come playoff time. They're going to be on the court with Russell Westbrook. What are you going to do when you have to be deferential to some degree to those guys, and you're going up against the Golden State or Utah, even the Clippers, assuming Kawhi Leonard comes back healthy, the Phoenix Suns? What are you going to do then? Until I see that, all I saw was Russell Westbrook being Russell Westbrook.
But you kind of glossed over what Tim said in terms of having that depth. So LeBron can rest,
right,
and they can get a better seed.
Yeah, but my point, Molly, is this. All I'm saying is that you have to see Russell Westbrook with a fully loaded squad do that, so you know that he fits in with who you're going to have on the court.
Or maybe not.
I don't think he'll have nights like that with those 2 guys.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I brought it up. That's why I said it meant nothing. You got to see it when they're on the court with them.
Marcus?
Go ahead, Swagoo.
It's just what he's willing to do. To your point, Legs, like his mentality. This is about Russell Westbrook. This is not about LeBron James and AD. It's about Westbrook and his mentality and what he will allow himself to be in order to win a championship. This is the thing that I stood on when they signed Russell Westbrook. I said Russell Westbrook in no way is going to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers without a diminished role in what he's been used to in his career, because he cannot win a championship being Russell Westbrook. Yeah. As you just pointed out, Stephen A. So I lean where you are, Legs. If we are going to diminish the fact of coming off the bench for Russell Westbrook and say he can't thrive in that way, it's going to have to be a responsibility to LeBron James and AD, and Russell Westbrook is going to have to identify that first the offense runs between these two guys, and I have to find my way. And that's difficult when you've been who he is for his entire career. And remember this, he's played with two superstars already in his career. Now, granted, they were young between him, KD, and James Harden. They wasn't the established guys that they are now, but they all knew each other's talent. And they all had to try to figure out, how do we do this together in order to try to have success? This is not about the Los Angeles Lakers. It ain't about Vogel. It ain't about LeBron, AD. This is about what is Russell Westbrook willing to do and accept, potentially being a diminished role type guy in order to win a championship. So do I want to continue my triple-double streak? And do I want to force myself to put points on the board, assists, and have the ball all the time? Or am I going to think grand scheme, let's go win a championship? Guys, what do you need me to be?
Yeah, and I get what Stephen A is saying. We need to see the three of them and be able to have production and play together. But I still think it's an advantage when we talk about how many injuries this team has dealt with, that they have a guy that 100%. Can step up and win games for them, and they can take nights off now. I don't feel like they had that luxury before. We'll keep it rolling here.
Oh, go ahead, Molly.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Our former colleague here at ESPN, certainly miss him, and now the Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups ripped his team's effort after Monday's 116-86 loss to the Los Angeles Clippers, calling the performance embarrassing. Chauncey, talk to me.
It was really embarrassing. Just the effort. I didn't think that we started the game off with the right mindset. I mean, we talked in the locker room about the Clippers. They hadn't won a game yet. 2 tough losses, but they were desperate to get a win. You were at home, and we tried to, defend against that. But from the very first play of the game, we turned the ball over. We couldn't get the ball where we needed to go. Their pressure really hurt us, and it continued to snowball the rest of the way.
Okay, Portland 1-2 on this very young season. You, Stephen A., do you think it was smart for Chauncey to call out the Blazers?
No, I do not. I'm not going to knock him for it. He just got there. He's young at this job. I think he's a fresh infusion that they needed, because even though I respect Terry Stott's basketball knowledge, and he's been in the game a long time, sometimes you just need a new voice, okay? And I think that Chauncey Billups could be that guy. Here's the problem where it gets tricky. Damian Lillard, there's been rumors all offseason that he was contemplating wanting to leave Portland. He ended up declaring that he wants to stay. I happen to know that, if he does leave, it'll be to be a member. Sorry, my mic almost fell. It'll be to be a member of the New York Knicks. He ain't interested in going anywhere else, but he wants to stay in Portland. The point is, with that specter, Tim, you knew it's possible, so you take the job. And the reason why Damian Lillard basically changed his stripes is because he wanted to give Chauncey Billups a chance. Now, Damian Lillard is playing horribly these first few games. Everybody relax. It's Damian Lillard. All you need to see is that he's averaging 17 points with 36% shooting and 0.083% from three-point range. Is that Damian Lillard? Please. This is not going to last. He's going to drop 50 within a week. Trust me. He'll be just fine. But if you're Chauncey and you're new to the job and you go out like that, remember, you got a few months of a window. And there's no doubt in my mind that there's some pressure that Chauncey Billups is feeling to make sure you ingratiate yourself with the team in such a fashion that guys gravitate to you instead of wanting to run away from you. So when you're that young and you're only 3 games in, and let's face it, Chauncey was a little bit emotional himself, Tim, because he's playing against his team that he was an assistant coach on last year, which was the Clippers. And you go into the building and get shellacked by them. That's not a good feeling. But you got to chill in the early stages. Work your way up to that. That's what I'm saying.
It's a shame you just can't be honest and forthright as a coach. You just can't do it.
Can't do it.
In his situation, because he's a former player, he's a first-year head coach. This is what you always worry about with guys that are former players and this is their first job. The frustration that these dudes aren't playing as hard as I played as a player, right? We always worry about that. This is the second time he's used the word embarrassing. He said it after a preseason game.
Wow.
So that's twice. That's a big word to use as a head coach. I'm embarrassed by the way my team played and their effort. Second time he's used it. So, no, he shouldn't have used that word. I completely agree with you, Stephen A., as far as the ice that he's walking on with regard to Damian Lillard. But here's the thing. Some people are reading in too much to Damian Lillard here to start the year. You just hit it on the head. If he just shoots 40% from the 3 which is what he has been throughout his career,
yes,
he's averaging 27 points a game right now.
That's right.
It's going to get back on track quickly. Now, look, I want to be honest. I don't get to see every team an entire game this early in the season.
Of course not.
They play tonight. I will have a much more educated response on what is going on with that team and him in particular if this continues tonight. I want to see what they're running. I want to see the rotations. I want to see Damian Lillard's body language. I want to watch all that before I can say this is maybe something bigger here. My bigger thing with Chauncey is it's a bad sign you have to say that when you've been there for a month trying to set the tone in training camp.
Right.
And you're using the word embarrassing 4 games in. That's not a good sign.
Real quick, Swagoo, before you know, just to throw this info to you, I do happen to know that Damian Lillard addressed the team after they lost, and he ripped the team as well. And he's already spoken to Chauncey about Chauncey's comments. So everything's cool, but you might want to watch using the word embarrassing. Well,
but this to me is, I'm flabbergasted by you and Tim Legler right now. Because when you talk about effort, a coach is going to use choice words when effort comes into the equation. Playing bad? Cool. We had an off night, guys. We didn't play well. But effort? Look, we all know Chauncey Billups and the way he's respected in the NBA, not by people in NBA circles, by NBA players. These guys, it's certain guys that can say certain things. And I look at this situation as, I understand being a player and you have an expectation for guys to perform every night, especially when you play to the level Chauncey Billups played at. But this is also respect. Damian Lillard understands what Chauncey Billups is saying. Damian Lillard was the guy saying we have to do something different in order to try to win a championship. He okayed this because he knows Chauncey Billups and how he goes about doing things. I get it this early in the season. I understand about Dame and he's going to get better. Obviously, we expect him to be an all-star level player, elite, where he does it from. But when you got to, as a head coach, got to come 3-4 games into a season and effort needs to come up, you damn right he gonna say embarrassed. He gonna use choice words. This ain't about Chauncey Billups. This is about what they ask Chauncey Billups to come in and do. I hope the Blazers respond and not get in their feelings about what he said, but respect him because he was a player and understands what this means.
You can hope it. You can hope it. I just don't know if it'll be that way. This is his 3rd game in the NFL, Swagoo. I hear where you're coming from, but it's his 3rd game.
NBA. Yeah, keep in mind, Memphis at Portland, John Morant playing them tonight. You'll have that game. So plenty of time to be talking about that NBA countdown. We'll get you guys set. That's one of our ESPN games this evening. Still ahead on First Take, Stephen A. revealed an all. I was with you on that, Spears, but we didn't have time. All NFC edition of the A-list yesterday. And Kyler's cards were on top, but somebody disagrees with that ranking. And Mr. Smith, shocking. Bart Scott joining us shortly. A scorching hot take on the Browns quarterback situation. Are they better with pace? We get into it. Running back Travion Henderson and the Buckeyes at the Shoe. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC in the ESPN app. One app, one tap. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals taking the league by storm. The sole undefeated team left in the NFL sitting pretty at 7-0. Tough litmus test tomorrow as that bad man and the Packers come to town. But Rodgers will be shorthanded without his best receiver, Devontae Adams. Stephen A. has been making a case for the Cards. I got the tape.
And number 1, you know who it is. It's the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to tell you who the number 1 team is right here. Give it to me right here. The Arizona Cardinals. Give me number 1, please. The Arizona Cardinals. We know who number 1 is. The number 1 team in the National Football League. The only undefeated team in the National Football League. That is the Arizona Cardinals.
I know Rodgers is shorthanded, but I hope he just torches them just because of this man. Hi, Bart Scott.
What up?
So good to see you.
What's up, Miss Molly? What it do, sir, Brother Noomsy?
Brother Noomsy.
You over there with that mohair, that mohair cashmere over there. I see that blend. You can't hide that money.
There we go.
Bart, is Arizona the best team in the NFL?
Not even close. Listen, they're a good football team. They're a team that are on the precipice, right? Their window is opening, but the best team, that's hard to say because in this league, experience matters. And right now, it's all sunshine and roses. And they won't have another test until they play the Rams for the second time. But the real test is against, yes, the Dallas Cowboys in Week 17, when you talk about them going against a full team. Listen, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And they've lucked out, right? They played Tennessee earlier. Tennessee is a much different team now, right? They played the San Francisco 49ers. They've been banged up. They played Cleveland without their 2 outside tackles. It is important for them to start, shoring things up and get experience. We know when you get into the playoffs, it's a totally different game. Right, it's a much faster game. It moves faster, and it's about, the cream rises to the top in November, December.
Pause. Look at me. Don't look at the damn camera. Look at me. The camera will find you, okay? With that dribble.
I'm talking to my mama.
No, talk to me right here, okay? Because your mama ain't debating you, right? Your mama gonna agree with you, right? She raised you, right? She probably told you what to say. That's what she probably did.
We went over the script.
And so we listen to mamas now. Here's the deal, though. Continue with that dribble. You look at me when you talk.
Listen. Experience matters, and when you get in the playoffs and you've never done it, listen. It's a reason why teams usually go through a certain maturation. It's very few times that we see teams come from nowhere to the champion. I think the Seattle Seahawks suffered, right? You have to suffer. This team hasn't suffered enough.
All right.
You remember the 5 heartbeats?
Tell me. I remember the 5 heartbeats.
And they said how he'd be a great rider.
The child, and now you bring up the 5 heartbeats. I know my
You got to suffer.
I know my movies, okay? But here's my point to you. Listen, this is not a projection as to where the Cardinals are going to be 8-10 weeks from now. We talk about right now. They're the one undefeated team in the National Football League. You saying it don't mean anything. You had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to bring up the Dallas Cowboys. Excuse me. And you're talking about them. Well, let's talk about the Cowboys for a second. After you beat the Rams, after you lost to the Bucs and beat the Chargers, then you have 4 games, right? You have 4 or 5 games. Okay. You're going up against the Carolina Panthers. You're going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, okay, Mac Jones, a rookie, okay. So we raving about the Cowboys. I mean, just stop the presses, okay? So you're gonna talk about the Arizona Cardinals, but you just gonna throw that out about the Dallas Cowboys and just
you hear the swag?
By the way, you got Arizona. They've scored over 30 in 6 of their 7 games. The only game they scored under 30 was the 17-10 win over San Francisco. They beat Cleveland. They beat San Francisco. I'm sorry, I got to look at who else they beat. I forgot who they beat last week.
They beat the Rams.
They beat the Rams. They destroyed the Rams. I got Kyler Murray balling out. He's an MVP candidate. A.J. Green has been resurrected. We thought he was done. He is not done. Zach Ertz. They picked up Zach Ertz. They still got D-Hop. They got an opportunistic defense. They undefeated. And you go sit here and say, oh, you know what? It's not even close. Well, who the hell is the best team in the NFL by far, since it's not even close, Bart Scott? Who is that person?
That's in the NFC. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Experience matters. They're going to get healthy, and they understand how to win in crunch time. You understand that experience matters, Stephen A. Listen, you understand also that style makes fights. That's why I said the Dallas Cowboys.
Hold on, wait a minute. I'm going to go to Swagger with this last statement. I picked Tampa Bay to win before the season began.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, as we sit here right now.
What have they done to disqualify themselves?
I didn't say they did. If you're telling me they're the best team, okay, I feel you on that. But I'm saying right now, look at the Cardinals right now. Now, that might not be the case come playoff time because of Tom Brady. But right now.
Look at the Steelers last year. They were 11-0, and we knew they wasn't the best team.
Go ahead, Swagger.
Stephen A., I hate to say this, Bart right.
First of all, you don't hate to say it. Stop lying. You actually love saying that.
Bart
you actually love saying it.
He right. I don't like always agreeing with Bart either. Bart is my other nemesis outside of you, by the way. Okay? But here's the thing. It's Tampa, man. It's Tampa. And look, I tried to deny it. And this is no shade to what the Arizona Cardinals are. I don't fully agree with Bart on the experience part, because I do think J.J. Watt and D-Hop and Chandler Jones, I think they have the type of guys. Zach Ertz with the addition.
All those guys lost in the playoffs, though, Swagger.
I'm not talking about Bart. I'm talking about winning. I'm talking about understanding the magnitude of the moment. That's what the playoffs are. I'm agreeing with you, bro. Just enjoy this while we agree. Damn it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now are devoid of, they didn't have Antonio Brown. They put up 38 points on the board. Like, they can do whatever they need to do. Leonard Fournette resurrected his career. Jacksonville sent him away like he couldn't play. He went to Tampa Bay, now he running the football.
That was
Tom obviously being that quarterback, but Bart made the most important part. This team ain't healthy. And they done lost 1 game. Their entire secondary at one point was injured and out. and they are still continuing to win. Look, I know the Chicago Bears ain't world beaters, but the way they dominated the Chicago Bears defense on the ground and through the air, that raised my eyebrows, and I said, you know what? They did this without a Hall of Fame wide receiver, one of the best we ever seen, because they got another one in Mike Evans. And they got another one that's going to be a one for somebody else in Godwin. So, look, Brady is having a phenomenal season. Brady is the MVP right now if we had to pick today based on what he's done. But when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I give them the edge regardless of the undefeated. And I've changed my tune. Regardless of being undefeated with the Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to bet on Tampa's one, like Bart said, experience, but also they probably the most talented offense in the league when they get everybody back. Well, listen, and it took me a long time to come to that conclusion. Listen, but they absolutely are with a 44-year-old
I have no problem.
quarterback.
Listen, I'm the one that didn't play in the NFL. Y'all did. I get it. And I'm not trying to question your football knowledge. I understand y'all know what the hell y'all talking about. That's why y'all on the show with me. The point that I'm trying to make to you, however, is this. Y'all are talking about the postseason. I'm talking about week 7. Right now, who's the one undefeated team in the National Football League? Who has beat all comers placed before them? Who's the dude? And you got a miniature dude. We would be talking about even more if it were not for Lamar Jackson. Because this brother, what he could do with his wheels.
How the hell you gonna get his dribble when you the one bring up strength of schedule all the time?
Excuse me.
You the one that say that all the time.
That's not the point, though.
That is the point.
No.
You trying to talk about an undefeated season?
They're 7-0 with a decent schedule. What are you talking about?
If Tampa was playing the Cardinals tomorrow, who would you pick?
Who you taking?
You know what? Right now, I'm going to take Cardinals.
Boy, you got it. You don't got it.
That.
Boy, he does not pause. He does not pause when he convicted. He don't pause when he convicted.
I might take Cardinals.
You said Mike. You leave that window open.
I thought you were supposed to be a thespian. I thought you could act.
Hey. By the
Still
way,
ahead
they
on
have
first
called
take.
me to come back to General Hospital. I just thought I'd let you,
What
since you
else
did
is
bring
new?
up the
All right,
thespian.
Brick.
They have called me back.
You need to work on your lying face.
They've called Brick back to Port Charles. Brick is coming back to Port Charles.
Still ahead
just saying.
on first take.
I
Bart's
like
sticking
that.
around because he's got a must-hear take on the Mike Tomlin sound that everyone is talking about. Plus, it's finally time to start talking MVP for real. Everyone's MVP picks in just a bit, and we've got a shocker for you. Stay here. I like this beat. A little Latin flavor here. Allen, Dak Prescott, and of course the GOAT himself, Tom Brady, all have a shot. Look who is here, Kimberly Martin.
Hello,
it makes me very happy to see you. It's great
Hey,
to have you back here with us.
Hey, what's up, Spears?
I'm going to start with you here, Kim. Who do you have as the MVP right now?
So, Molly, you know what would be the easiest thing to do?
Okay.
Come on here and give you a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's so easy, right? Tom Brady, Kyler, Dak. How about a curveball? How about Derrick Henry? How about Derrick Henry? He's a man, when he's on the field, not only will he push DBs out the stadium, he's a guy who literally accounts for 55% of the touches on his team. He's a guy that you load the box and he can still run through you, run over you, run past you. He's a guy that literally, and you want a guy who could do it all? He literally started the game throwing a touchdown pass in a game I covered. So you want TD throws, he's got you. You want him running over people, he's got you. And his presence allows a guy like an A.J. Brown to go off. We care about fantasy? We sure do. A.J. Brown, his numbers in fantasy are trending up by virtue of Derrick Henry being on the field.
And can I piggyback on that? Sure. Also, his team has a great record. So that's important as well.
Yeah.
You can't just ball out and have all the numbers and
you don't
has
win.
a poor record. And
Derrick
trajectory's in the right direction.
Derrick Henry's got 869 yards rushing in 7 games. He's on pace for another 2,000-yard season. Can't ignore that.
But you're about to, right?
Incredibly impressive.
You're about to, though.
Impressive.
You're about to. Okay.
Incredibly impressive.
Tell me why you're going to pick a quarterback.
Excuse me. I'll let you
That's right.
speak. I'll let
That's
you
right.
speak.
You're right.
I did not interrupt
You're right.
you.
You know what? I haven't seen you in a long time. I haven't seen you in a long
That's right,
time.
Kimberly. I mean, you're going to be like Molly, and I mean, you're supposed to be my girl. You know, we go back. We go back away. And then we are again with this. But here's the deal.
Yes.
Is Derrick Henry undefeated? No. That would happen to be Kyler Murray. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at a miniature dynamo that Keyshawn Johnson sat in that chair and was like, I prefer to see quarterbacks, where I can see where the ball's coming from.
He had the
He's so
unmitigated
miniature,
ball.
I can't see where the ball is coming from and all of this other nonsense, okay? Okay, I heard other people who will remain nameless, Swagoo, talk about Dak Prescott. That was before Swagoo swore that Jameis Winston was going to be an MVP candidate.
Listen, he's got 4 games with 0 turnovers, Mr. 30-30. So let's give Swag. I'm just saying, let's give Swagoo some props on him having a better season, okay?
Listen, hey, here's the deal.
So you're picking a quarterback.
Jameis Winston deserves our respect. I was only talking about Swagoo saying the MVP.
Right.
Man, go ahead and say who your MVP is, man.
Seriously, what is this build-up?
It's Kyler Murray. That's what I'm trying to say. He's undefeated. The brother complete more than 73% of his passes. He hurt you with his legs. He hurt you with his arms. We know what time, and they're undefeated again.
Okay.
That's who stands out in my mind. That could change because Derrick Henry can continue doing what he's doing, and Kyler Murray may tail off. But right now, based on the team's success, combined with what he has led them to be, okay, I'm going to sit up there and I'm going to say to you, Kyler Murray.
I mean, you're wrong, but I hear you saying that.
Okay, listen, first of all,
Marcus?
Kim, I love the fact that you entered Derrick Henry into the chat, but we all know damn well the MVP trophy is for a quarterback. We all know that. Just like the Heisman Trophy in college, it's for quarterbacks. All right, the other thing is this. All right, and Stephen A., I see where you are with Kyler Murray. A week ago, before this Cincinnati Bengals game, I would have said Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson, listen, let me preface this by saying this. Lamar Jackson is the most valuable player for his team than any other player in the NFL. So if we want to give just an MVP trophy based on what a guy is asked to do and how much responsible he is for his team winning, it will be Lamar Jackson before anybody, because you start going down the laundry list of what all of these other great quarterbacks have at their disposal. All right, so let me lay that out. But the MVP is Tom Brady. And I know it's old, and I know it's cliche, and I know don't nobody want to hear it because we get sick of seeing greatness. It's the same thing LeBron James deals with in the NBA. Stephen A., you know this. Tom Brady right now is having one of the best seasons he's ever had in his career, okay? And I understand what he's surrounded with. But also remember that this dude is 44 years old. Like, we've gotten comfortable with the fact that a 44-year-old quarterback is outplaying most of the young quarterbacks in the NFL right now and doing it in an old traditional way. Yeah, you damn right I want newness. I want to see some of these young guys ascend and be MVPs. I want to see them have the opportunity to take the limelight away from Tom Brady at some point, so you pass the torch on to the next generation or the next guy that's going to be in that position. But we all know in our heart of hearts, sitting on this show right now, that Tom Brady is the MVP right now today in the NFL.
Well, first of all, stop lying to the American public.
Wow.
I do not know that. I don't know that. Speak for yourself, Swagoo. I don't know that. Now, let me say this.
You do know that.
Let me say this.
You do know that.
Hold on, how you going to say something? You picked Derrick Henry.
You know
picked
why?
Derrick Henry.
You know why?
I didn't hear you pick Tom Brady. You picked Derrick Henry.
Because I mean, it's so obvious, but I want to give Derrick Henry some love because he deserves it. Because, like Marcus said, this is an award that really is going to go to a quarterback. We know that. So, of the quarterbacks that we see, I would love to see somebody else. Let's change it. Let's change it.
Check it out. See what she just did, right?
Yes.
What she just did. Kimberly, that's right. I'm gonna call the ladies out. Even Molly with Molly's deal can't run from this one. Here's the deal.
That's sponsored. Taking the company money.
Kimberly just admitted she only mentioned Derrick Henry because she wanted to give him some love, not because she really believed it.
No.
She said she agreed with you, Swagoo.
He's not going to win the MVP. He should.
Is that what you said?
This is a lot of fun.
Hold on.
I appreciate you, Stephen A. You tried to deliver it. You had your lying face again. We all know it's Tom Brady. Don't let him be a victim.
Can I respond?
Don't let him be no, because I have to go to break.
Oh, wow.
She
said no, you can't respond.
No, you cannot.
Okay,
sir.
I'm going to shut up.
Because you know the truth right now.
On first take. There we go. It only took him 6 years. Still to come here. My oh my, what is wrong with the Chiefs? Wow, prayers have been answered. Who's to blame? Can they fix it? And can they still make a run to sneak into that playoff hunt? Plus, we've got so many good beats today. A team in the AFC that is clicking those Cincinnati Bengals. What is their ceiling? dare I ask it, win the AFC? Stay tuned. But I like to disperse it.
Molly,
That's coming
hopefully
up
we can
next,
get a little
right
bit.
here
Just a
on
little
First
bit.
Take. We'll be right
Where's
back.
her bling and talk about me?
We'll be right back. Set, Stephen A., Jalen, Greeny, and Wilbon. Looking forward to it. I'll be watching.
You do that.
Meanwhile, back to NFL. We have some breaking news. This just in. Baker Mayfield says it's absolutely possible he could play Sunday versus the Steelers, despite the shoulder injury that kept him out last week. Said he's feeling noticeably better. Stephen A., your reaction?
So, come get the beat down. That's where I'm going to get it. Come get the beat down. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no skin on my back. Come on, Baker Mayfield. I hope you do play. Come get the beat down. Steelers coming. Yeah, Steelers Nation coming. I have not been pleased with what I've seen overall. Their defense is not as stout as it was last year. You understand what I'm saying? But talk about an excuse to get a good start. And, you know, you're back to 3-3. You're 500. You're respectable. You're in the mix. Cleveland might be in the gutter instead of you. Cincinnati obviously has elevated this level of play. We can't ignore Baltimore. You're the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a pivotal game. It's in Cleveland, no doubt about that. Hasn't been good for you the last couple of seasons. But in the end, you know what, Baker Mayfield? You worried about your job, your security, your new contract. You don't want Case Keenum to get that shot. You want to come get some. Come get some.
It always comes back to him.
Come get some.
Marcus, I thought this was going to be more about what this shows about Baker Mayfield and his heart. But no, it's about Stephen A. and his Steelers.
Brother want a new contract. He don't want to lose a job. I mean, that's hard, Molly. That's what it is. That's hard. I mean, come on now.
Molly, I know what you're trying to do, but this is about Baker Mayfield not having his money in question.
Okay, so it's about securing the bag. I get it.
No question.
Oh, so now you admit I'm right. Why don't you just say I'm right, Molly?
Look, that could be true as well as the fact that Baker Mayfield is an uber competitor because he is that.
Yeah,
he wants to play. He wants to have success. So, yeah, it's absolutely possible. I don't think it should happen, but it's possible.
Mm-hmm. It's possible.
All right. We got to get into a quick commercial break because when we get back, I have to get some people paid, and I will explain what that is. See, Stephen A. Keenum delivered a fourth down scramble that led to his game-winning touchdown throw. We saw vintage Keenum step up to help the Browns to a 17-14 win over Denver as Baker battles a partially torn labrum to his non-throwing shoulder. No secret that Cleveland is littered with talent but has underperformed considering the injury. Cleveland hosting Pittsburgh on Sunday. Are the Browns better off with Case Keenum? Here, you want to start?
Well, I'm Buck Nasty, the official hater on this show, so it's all good because everybody going to think I'm just trying to be hot takey, but that's not the case. Absolutely, they're better. I mean, I think better long term. And what I'm saying is, right, when you look at Baker Mayfield, it is nothing special about Baker Mayfield. He doesn't have a strong arm. He isn't elusive. And he's not a force multiplier like Mike Tannenbaum always speaks about. Right? So really, the hardest thing to have in life and sometimes in your profession, especially in football, when it's all about bravado and ego, is perspective. And understand who you are and what you are. Listen, I was a good football player. I wasn't a great player. I played next to a great player, Ray Lewis. Baker Mayfield needs to realize who he is and what his limitations are, because if he wants to be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, he's going to have to make sure that contract is about $30 million, which is tremendous that he can make $30 million with his ability. But he's not a guy, when you look at other teams on the sideline, that you're saying that he's going to be special. He's not a guy that you think that when he has the ball in his hands that he's going to win the championship. He has two of everything. Like I said last year, before his wife came at you, Stephen A., he does less with more than any quarterback in football. And I always say this when I come on this show. Take Baker Mayfield out of the equation and go through all the starting quarterbacks in this league and say, if you put them there, is the Cleveland Browns better? And I say yes till you get to like number 18.
Yeah. Having said all that, I've never thrown shade on him to the degree that you just did. I don't believe.
Well, I know an average quarterback.
Listen, I do believe that he's average. So my indictment is against Case Keenum, who's got like a career 28-35 record as a starter. You are right in terms of their numbers. Neither even has a 2-to-1 touchdown to turnover ratio. I get all their touchdown to interception ratio. They both completed about 62% of their passes for their career. I get all of that, even though Baker Mayfield's like a game over 500 and he no longer has more progressive commercials than wins. He actually has more wins than progressive commercials these days. I give him credit where credit is due in that regard. But what I would say to you is that I'm not willing to throw that amount of shade. Baker Mayfield is not a scrub. Baker Mayfield can play. Is he the difference maker? Is he big time? No, he's average. But Case Keenum hasn't been average. And that's my issue. When you look at Case Keenum, he is a bona fide backup in the National Football League. He's had 10 years to be a starter, to prove that he is worthy. He's never proven that. And what I'm saying is the jury is still out about Baker Mayfield. He's had some moments where he shined, other moments where he has not. Case Keenum is not a scrub. I'm not trying to disrespect him, but at the same time, I'm certainly not going to say that there's no difference between him and Baker Mayfield. I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, Vegas, right, only dropped the line 1 point.
Okay.
Right, because they know that Baker Mayfield isn't a big difference maker. In Case Keenum, to have an argument for him, when he was on a good football team in Minnesota, he beat Drew Brees on the other sideline. Right, Baker Mayfield is on the best team that he will ever be on. When you pay him that money, you got to say, listen, Ozzie Newsome just say, okay, you want money, Bart? I'm like, yeah. Well, go point out the teammate that you want to cut. Because if I pay you, that means you can't have him, you can't have him. He's not a force multiplier. So he's got to have some self-awareness to say, I got to take less cheese.
All right. Go ahead, Swaggle.
Well, it's about value. I agree with you, Stephen A. I don't think they better off with Case Keenum because you're going to get what Case Keenum gives. And I think Case Keenum's season in Minnesota was an anomaly. I don't think Baker is the greatest thing since sliced bread either. I think Baker is insulated and he has an opportunity to play well at times because of what Bart mentioned. So this is about Baker's value. The Cleveland Browns are going to go forward with Baker Mayfield as their starting quarterback. They took him 1 overall. He's played good enough in order for them to continue to extend him and get him to a point where they want to see if he can continue to progress and get a little bit better. I'm agreeing 2 things can be true. It's true that the Cleveland Browns are going to go forward with Baker Mayfield. But it also is true that Baker Mayfield is not a force multiplier. And I agree 100% with you on that, Bart. But don't put your eggs in Case Keenum basket. Don't let Case Keenum come in and give you the thought that the Cleveland Browns going forward would be better off with Case Keenum. I'm going to take the full resume as opposed to the one anomaly season that he had with the Minnesota Vikings. Granted, give him credit for it, play phenomenal. But I think Case Keenum overall is who Case Keenum is. Baker Mayfield is still young enough. And I'm talking about contract talks. He's still young enough for the front office to get together and say, hey, we got a value for this guy. We want to pay him this much money. It's going to be about Baker Mayfield and whether he accepts that amount of money. Because it won't be in quarterback money that negates a team from having the ability and the flexibility to sign players. They know they need that with Baker Mayfield at their quarterback.
Here's what I know. This AFC North matchup got a little more interesting. Mike Tomlin's going to be fired up. Case Keenum's going to be fired up. I'm looking forward to Sunday, y'all. Still to come on First Take, credible leader of men. I can't underscore that enough. So with that being said, he did not take kindly to the question of leaving the pro ranks for open college positions at LSU or SC. Coach Tomlin, not mincing his words.
Hey, guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That'll be the last time that I address it. And not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
Anyone else? All right.
Thank you. Anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, anybody asking Andy Reid about stuff like that?
There ain't a booster with a big enough blank check. Just play that on repeat for me. Bart, I want to start with you here.
Yeah.
Was this disrespectful to ask Mike Tomlin about a college job?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, and what people don't know is sometimes they're unknown bias, right? And they don't understand that. And it's important that we point it out when we see it. And that's exactly what Mike Tomlin did. It was definitive. And I think it was the right pitch and tone. And I think if you're USC and you were thinking about, picking up the phone, I think you put it down and say, listen, that's not even, I don't want to deal with that type of smoke. Listen, and I think he was very calculated when you talk about the type of coaches that he brought up. He didn't bring.
Please deal. I don't hoard my money like him. Let's get it. Marcus Spears, your debut. Will Aaron Rodgers throw 3 or more touchdown passes against the Cardinals?
No, he will not, Molly. Just too devoid of weapons. I think they're going to lean heavily on this run game. And the only thing that gives me pause is that he may throw a little route out there to Aaron Jones and he breaks one. So I could be wrong, but I just don't see them getting 3 or more TDs without Devontae Adams and their second best option in Lazard.
Yeah, absolutely. Missing their top 2 receivers. Stephen A., you're up. Will Aaron Rodgers, that bad man, have 260 or more passing yards?
No, he won't, because he can't catch the ball himself. He's got to have people to throw it to, and he doesn't have that on this particular night, which is Thursday night. No.
Way to believe in your guy. Marcus, back to you. Will Kyler Murray throw 3 or more touchdown passes?
Yes, he will, Molly, and it's about the talent. It's about DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Green and Christian Kirk and Rondale Moore and his scrambling ability to put the ball up through the air. And look, Green Bay has given up plays in the passing game. We've seen teams have a successful outing against this secondary. It's all about Green Bay's rush and can they affect Kyler Murray? Because if they can't, he'll be over 3 touchdowns, and I believe he will be.
Yeah, he's done so in 4 of 7 games this season. Stephen A., will Kyler Murray score a rushing touchdown?
Yeah, of course he will. Okay. Green Bay's defense is not that great.
He hasn't in his last 4. He did in his first 3, but not in his last 4.
He hasn't been interested in doing so. He hasn't needed to do that. They found a way to win. That's what he's going to do tonight. I mean, it's a situation tomorrow night. I'm sorry.
Stimulated today.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Yep, yeah. Yes. Marcus, we will end with you. Will DeAndre Hopkins score a touchdown? This one's easy money, right?
Absolutely. You can bet on that. Anytime it gets close or anytime man coverage shows up, which unfortunately for a lot of teams, you can't just focus on DeAndre Hopkins, which allows him to get man-to-man coverage. And we know DeAndre Hopkins is going to win when he has man-to-man, and Kyler is going to make a point to make sure he gets in the end zone.
Yeah. Receiving TDs in 5 of 7. Like Drake said, you can thank me now or you can thank me later. All right, we'll carry on here, guys, right? Don't look now, but the Bengals are 5-2 and sitting pretty at top of the AFC North. Joe Burrow, LSU, showing the form that made him the #1 overall pick in 2020, and this year's first-round pick, Jamar Chase, looks unstoppable. The Bengals defense, no slouch either. They've only given up 25 points once this season, and coming off a dominating performance against Lamar Jackson in the Ravens this past Sunday. Marcus, I'll start with you. How far can Joe Burrow take the Bengals? I really feel like these are one of the surprise teams of the NFL this season.
Yeah, this can be a playoff team, and they could potentially win a playoff game. I don't think we're talking about Super Bowl or AFC Championship. And up until this point, I got to give them credit, Molly. They've surprised us up until this point, so why not? I tried to tell Stephen A. a couple years ago, about this dude when we had our epic rant about Alabama and LSU when he was in college. Joe Burrow has shifted and changed the culture in Cincinnati. All right, one key component, and both of you know this, y'all been covering the game long enough. If you don't have a guy under center that you believe can win every game, you are going to be a bad football team. And that's been the change for the Cincinnati Bengals. Chase has been magnificent. The draft pick worked out, which I thought it would. A lot of people thought they should go O-line, which was conventional thought. But I thought Joe Burrow needed to have the Batman, Robin, or whatever, however you want to deem him. Aaron has Devontae. Kyler has DeAndre Hopkins. Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase with just as good rapport because they played together. And now we see that coming to fruition in the league. This is a playoff team, all right? And just like the Arizona Cardinals, it's hard for people to digest it because these are not the conventional teams we think about as being good and top tier caliber. The Cincinnati Bengals are playing great defense. They have an offense with a quarterback that everybody believes when they walk into the stadium, more so him than anybody else, that no matter what happens, they can win the game. So I think they will be a playoff team, and whoever has them in the first round better not look at the name Bengals. They better pay attention to the guys that they have actually playing in those uniforms.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I got to admit, I'm not going to rule out the possibility that the Cincinnati Bengals could end up in the AFC Championship game. Just by virtue of how we're seeing other teams play. Kansas City is a huge question mark because of their defense. The Raiders are there, but we can't definitively say they're better than the Cincinnati Bengals. We just saw what the Bengals did to the Baltimore Ravens. We still have question marks about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We saw what the Bengals did to them. The Buffalo Bills are there, and everybody's looking at them as a complete team. But outside of that, you're looking at Derrick Henry and his ability to run the football, and you're wondering whether or not Cincinnati Could they possibly knock on somebody like Tennessee? Well, Cincinnati is a top 5 defense in the National Football League right now. So when you look at Joe Burrow, when you look at Jamar Chase, when you look at how the combination of those two have reinvigorated this franchise, because you've got Mixon looking like a stout running back, you got Higgins and Boyd and these boys balling out as well, along with their tight end. I look at Cincinnati. I'm not saying that it could happen. I need to see more evidence. But standing here right now, I don't think we can look at anybody in the AFC and say Cincinnati can't beat them.
Absolutely. You concur, Marcus?
Yeah, I concur. And to your point, man, that's why I wanted to make it a point for these teams not to go in there thinking this is the Cincinnati Bengals. You better pay attention to the names on them jerseys and them playmakers that they have out there, because of the ascension of Chase, they can go toe-to-toe with any offense in the NFL because of how he's playing and Uzama at tight end. This is a really good football team. This is not a fluke. They are a really good football team. So be careful when you run up on them.
Got to get to the World Series, my brother.
My bad.
Got to get to the World Series.
Braves Astros game 2 tonight.
Braves,
Stephen A., how impressed were you with the Braves, though?
I've been very, very impressed. Freddie Freeman and the crew, to lose Acuna early in the season and for them to play the way that they play. Atlanta's a special, special town when it comes to their baseball team. They showed up last night. A lot of people believe they're the best team. I'm rooting for Dusty Baker, however. I'm really rooting for him to capture his first World Series championship as a manager. I'm looking at Altuve and Correa and Bregman and these boys. I'm expecting them to step up and handle their business and be more potent offensively. They scored 67 runs in 10 playoff games. I expect that to continue. I think they're going to resurrect themselves and make this in the series.
You know what? I'm rooting for the Braves just because of Elle Duncan. She's probably not watching, but I hear on the 6 o'clock Sports Center she's all nervous last night. I want to see Atlanta get the win. Marcus?
I think I'm flowing more towards the Braves as well. I just like this team, and I've been looking for a team to root for, and Elle been on me about picking the Braves because they down south and they close relatively to where I'm from. So I enjoy seeing the World Series. Bregman is with Houston, who I love, LSU guy, but I think the Braves are going to take this one, y'all.